Lieutenant Riza, have you ever had to shoot anyone?
Hawkeye is many things. A killer is one of them. Hawkeye is loyal, caring, and honest. Honest with Winry, with Mustang, with herself. There are a lot of fantastic characters in Fullmetal Alchemist. Al, the boy who can't feel warmth, rain, or rest, and is still unfalteringly kind-hearted. Wrath, the enslaved king, composed in his anger, patient in his fury. I need not go on. You know. And yet, Hawkeye sticks out to me. In a story about change, cost, and truth, Hawkeye has already changed, is looking to pay the cost, not evade or undo it, and is constantly honest. We see characters struggle with the truth, run from it, and we see Hawkeye accept it.
Lieutenant Riza, have you ever had to shoot anyone?
Yes, I have.
There's no dressing it up, no excuses or reasons given here. This child is uncomfortable and directly asks an uncomfortable question. And Hawkeye doesn't shy away from it. Riza has killed. Yes, she had reasons. Yes, there was context and consequences. Yet Riza never pulls the choice away from the act. When she shoots, when she acts, it is her choice. Winry hates soldiers. They took her mom, her dad. Now they come to take Ed and Al away too. Hawkeye looks forward. She doesn't try to placate her or give excuses for what happened to Winry's parents. She just asserts that what happens to Ed and Al is also a choice. Their choice. To move forward, to stay still. Hawkeye accepts their decision, whatever it will be. It is when Winry asks why she became a soldier, that Riza smiles.
Because there's someone I have to protect.
Her reason is clear. Every shot is a decision and the reason defined. While fighting is her decision, the reason is for someone else. Edward asks about her time in Ishval. Riza starts with the smell of it, the blood of it. Most combat is blind. A soldier can fire and not see if or where their shots land, but not for a sniper. Each shot a choice, each shot seen. Hawkeye is confronted by her choices, their consequences, the truth, with each shot. Kimberly told her to never forget the ones she killed, for they would never forget her. Kimberly was a killer, took joy in his actions. Hawkeye may not take joy in this, but she is the same. This is her burden to bear. Even when she learns the homunculus orchestrated the war, Hawkeye doesn't shift the blame onto them. It was her choice to fire. When Ed goes back to fight Gluttony, Hawkeye gives him a gun. Al says that's a weapon for killing people. Riza says yes, agreeing, but it's also a weapon for protecting their lives. Ed returns it. He didn't use it, didn't have to, couldn't. How pathetic. Useless. Hawkeye asks him to tell her what happened, looking to understand. He shares. She responds saying he's only dwelling on it because he survived. He needs to stay focused on living. Giving this to him only added to his burdens. Ed asks if it's ever a burden for her. Riza says that she lost the right to look at it that way. At one point it was a burden, yet it is no longer. She has held it, made a decision to fire, to kill so many times. It is no longer a burden given to her. It is a part of her. With the eyes of a killer, she no longer has the right to see it as a burden. Mustang is a character of ambition, devotion, and idealism. He strives to change all of Amestris, engrossing himself in politics and power plays. He lies and deceives to gain ground. He is dedicated to his people, maybe even to a fault, unable to give up on Havoc or Ross as he slows down and puts himself at risk. He wants to protect the people he loves, and they will protect the ones they love, and eventually everyone will be protected. While Hughes was able to balance Roy's idealism with realism, Hawkeye is there to counter his mask, his lies. Mustang puts on the facade of a cocky, lazy, flirtatious colonel, while Hawkeye is consistently honest. Honest with others, honest with herself, yet what ties them together is devotion. Hawkeye and Mustang's relationship is so tight-knit because they so thoroughly understand each other, because they are so reliant on each other. While anyone can see they are each a force unto their own, they only stand because they have each other. At Hughes' funeral, Mustang stayed behind. He now understands what drove the Elrics to try and bring their mother back. He can't help but try and reject this, try and fix it. He has such terrifying power, yet right now, it's worthless. Riza asks if he is alright, almost a strange question. No, of course he isn't, and she knows that. Rather, she's prompting him to open up, to talk to her. Yeah, I'm fine. A lie, but also an understanding. He will go on. He must. He isn't fine, but he can continue to pretend that he is. Except, it's a terrible day for Rain. But before that, what a terrible day this is. How utterly destructive. How useless Roy is in the rain. How the great flame alchemist is reduced to nothing. How Roy feels reduced to nothing.
What do you mean? It's not raining.
Yes, it is.
In a few words, she sees how sundered he is, how desperate, how useless. He can't do anything. He can't save Hughes, he can't bring him back, he can't even find the words to explain it. But he can share it. He can share with Hawkeye where he is, in the rain. He doesn't need to say more. Riza understands. Even when Roy himself can forget what the rain does to him, his watchful eye, his lieutenant, does not. A few words, and as the tears stream down his face, Riza understands, and she takes care of him. Hawkeye finds out that Selim is a homunculus. The words from his mother, his presence. Selim goes to intimidate her, to make certain that she keeps her mouth shut. And she digs for information, looking for an advantage in the lion's den. He restrains her, threatens, tells her to join their side with his hand around her throat. And she calls his bluff. There's no question that pride holds the power here, and Hawkeye isn't subdued. Yet, as pride leaves, he gives a promise. No matter where she is, he will be watching her. The one putting gluttony to shame, who uses the shadows like a plaything. What limits does he have? Riza arrives home to eyes. It's just Black Hayate. She is safe. Is she? Just because she can't see the enemy? Who knows what they are capable of? The phone rings. One of the few things that is unpacked. This is barely even a home. It's Mustang, being an idiot, surprise, and relief. She presses him on what he is doing. He says he got drunk and got a cart full of flowers, asking her to take some off his hands. How utterly benign, how random and useless and lovely. A call because he wanted to talk to her. That is why. It's warming. She pauses as she takes it in. He notices. That pause is unnatural, unusual. Something is wrong. Hawkeye didn't say a word and she didn't need to. What's wrong? Notably not, is something wrong, but what is wrong? Something is wrong. Mustang knows it. He just needs to know what. Hawkeye gasps, the wall behind her filled with shadow. Her hands are tied. She can't let him know. She can't let Selim know that Mustang knows something is wrong. He presses. Did something happen? Opening the door for her to say something, to give him anything to go off of.
No, sir. It's nothing.
Not nothing is wrong or nothing happened. That it is nothing. That it shouldn't be talked about. Mustang's posture has changed. He is thinking now, alert. Are you sure? Yes, sir. Everything's fine. Telling him not to come. Telling Pride he won't come. How comforting that call was, even if they barely talked at all, even if they didn't talk about anything. Mustang cares about her, understands her. She doesn't feel alone anymore. Mustang stares at the phone. She hung up on him. Hung up without giving him a chance to respond. Message received. Mustang called from a phone booth, not a military line, but that wasn't enough. Something is going on and Hawkeye couldn't share it. They are so in tune with one another. During Hughes' funeral, they didn't share many words, but with those words, shared so much. Roy wanted Riza to understand him. Now, Riza isn't trying to communicate anything, but Roy knows her too well. Pause goes on for too long and it's enough. And Riza knows Roy too well. There isn't a way for her to brush it off, to stop him from asking. She has to hang up to stop him. They know each other so well, they can't help but understand each other. And now, even with the shadows all around her, Riza isn't alone. Mustang moves his pieces to draw out Hughes' killer. His actions with Ross exonerated him from suspicion. Now, he just needs to leave it to Hawkeye and the team. Suspicion and exoneration be damned, not again. She starts with a wounding shot to the arm, only shooting him in the head when nothing else worked. He makes it in time. Hawkeye chews him out, calling him an idiot. He threw everything away. He was so well positioned. Mustang doesn't argue. He just accepts it with a smile. He made it. As they descend, Hawkeye thanks him. Maybe strategically he should have left her, but she is glad he made it. Mustang says to save it for later. Now is the time for the mission. Hawkeye smiles. They both agree that the mission is the highest priority, that Mustang threw away his advantage, yet they are both happy. They both agree the mission is more important than their lives. Changing a mistress is more important. However, they both place the other above everything. They're glad they still have each other. They continue below the third laboratory, splitting up. Hawkeye hears an explosion. The Colonel? She continues on. Now is the time to focus on the mission. Now is the time to trust in him. They reach the end, and Lust arrives, saying she will send the lieutenant to her superior, and starts to approach. There are no lies here. Lust doesn't goad Hawkeye, doesn't bring it up again. She doesn't need to. Hawkeye heard the explosion. Mustang was fighting. But lose? Die? Impossible. Riza has seen his fire burn the life out of people in droves. Who could stand up to that? Yet, she's also seen the immortality of a homunculus. Unstoppable. We see the 5 stages of grief. Denial. Rejecting. This cannot be true. She's lying. Yet Lust's eyes are steady. She doesn't say it again, doesn't present evidence, doesn't need to convince Hawkeye, and is more convincing for it. Lust has full confidence that Mustang is dead, and it shows. Anger. Roy is dead. Riza has been on the battlefield before. Riza has lost people before. Roy is dead. Bargaining. She will kill Lust. She will end her here. Yet bullet after bullet, mag after mag, and it isn't enough. Riza has fought a homunculi before. Guns aren't enough. She isn't enough. Depression. Roy is dead. Riza can't even take the killer down with her. Acceptance. Are you done? An insult. Look how worthless your best efforts were. Riza accepts it's over. Roy is gone. She will soon join him. There's nothing she can do to change this. Their dream is gone. Everything they went through, all the pain and damage they caused, was going to mean something. Now, it's worthless. She will follow him into hell. Riza tells Al to leave. Riza has already lost. There's no reason for him to remain. Al rejects it, saying he won't sit back and take it, won't let anyone else get killed when he can still protect them. Well spoken. I couldn't agree more. The fire comes. We see Mustang's fire without holding back, scorching to the bone again and again. Even a homunculus cannot withstand it. It's over. When Mustang and Hawkeye teamed up, Hawkeye said she would follow Mustang into hell if he asked her to. With Mustang dead, their dream, their goal is gone. Their chance to change Amestris is shattered. Roy is gone. When Riza was in danger, Roy threw away all their advantage, their plans. He gladly accepts that he is an idiot. Riza is alive. They both need each other, unable to see life past losing the other. The promised day has arrived, plans set into motion. Even if they succeed, their mission is far from over. Do not die. Even now, with the fate of the nation at stake, eyes are set on the future. They take the Fuhrer's wife as hostage to control the narrative. Winning the fight isn't enough. They need to propel themselves up after it's all over. The hero of Ishval and the Hawk's Eye are fighting, yet no one has died. Everyone knows the destructive power of these two. They are renowned for it. This is both swaying public opinion and having restraint against soldiers that are following orders. They descend into the third laboratory. They find enemies that Hawkeye can't deal with. Mustang burns them all to ash. Envy crashes into the room, insulting and goading them into fighting each other. Mustang has one burning question. Who killed Hughes? He presses, tired of not getting an answer. Who killed Hughes? Envy laughs. This pathetic human thinks it will make a difference if he knows, and admits he did it. Mustang is controlled, a cold rage boiling. He doubts, wants confirmation. Envy turns into Gracia Hughes laughing with such joy. Mustang understands. He claims Envy as his own, burning out his tongue. Envy transforms and his eyes boil, his body burns. Mustang promises Envy will suffer 1,000 deaths before he is done. Envy remembers they would not be the first homunculus to end by fire. He is, for once, outmatched. We have seen Mustang burn a homunculus with the intention to kill before. That is not what he is doing. He wants it to hurt, for it to be slow. Mustang gives chase, telling Hawkeye to stay behind. Mustang is different. That darkness, that hate, has been growing. Hawkeye apologizes, going in against orders. She can't wait. Envy sees her and transforms. The copy is perfect. The look in his eyes is the same, the vengeance, the darkness. This is Mustang. Then he says Hawkeye might as well help him kill him now that she's here, and takes a step forward, trusting Hawkeye with his back. The way he walks is right, the tone of his voice, yet he said exactly what Hawkeye wanted. For them to do this together, that's wrong. Mustang has been holding this darkness for so long. He wouldn't let Hawkeye get involved. This isn't Mustang. Hawkeye confirms it before shooting. Hawkeye unloads her guns, looking to kill, to end him before Mustang can show up. Yet Envy gets the upper hand, and Mustang finds them, drawn in by the gunfire. Mustang walks towards them slowly, unrushed. Envy and Hawkeye are so frightened for entirely different reasons. Envy didn't realize how powerful, how terrifying the Flame Alchemist could actually be. He's in the palm of Mustang's hand and is being played with. Hawkeye sees the darkness, the rage, the malice. Hawkeye knows what he can do. His power is not a surprise. He tells Hawkeye to not interfere. She was right. How she wishes she was wrong. How deeply Mustang is in his vengeance. How he is giving himself up to it. She sees him relish in it, killing Envy slowly, drawing it out. Envy is as good as helpless, and Mustang wants him to know that, to feel that. Hawkeye has seen Mustang kill so many people, but not like this. Not slowly, not drawn out. Mustang has full control over his flames. This is no accident. Envy crumbles into nearly nothing. Mustang insults him, under boot. Even at Envy's most pathetic and helpless, Mustang's malice does not decrease, but grows. As he prepares to lean into it, to satisfy the fire within him, Hawkeye pulls her gun up, telling him that's enough. She will take it from here, asking him to let go. He is in so deep, he must take a step back. Hawkeye could shoot Envy, but taking the kill from Mustang is not the goal here. What matters is him letting go of the man he is becoming. Removing his target will not remove this hatred. Mustang tells Hawkeye to put her weapon down. No, he orders her. Ed arrives, taking Envy. Mustang asks for Envy back. Cold orders it. Edward refuses. Mustang demands it, saying he will burn Ed's hand along with him. Ed throws back that Mustang should look at his face, asking if that is what he will wear when he is leading this country, asking if he wants to become another monster. Mustang is unmoved, hand still steady, unaffected by the ramblings of a child. Yet, he thinks back on his starting on this path with Hughes, on why he is doing all of this. Scar asks if he is a beast, if he is giving in to its passion. He can if he wants. He won't stop him from taking revenge. What right does he have? Yet, what kind of world would this man create? A man held captive by his own hate. This reaches Roy. Riza says she can't let him kill Envy, but she will not let him live. There's no argument here from anyone that they should let Envy live. Just that it cannot be Mustang. Not like this. Tense, Mustang exclaims that he finally did it. He ran him down. After all this time, this whole time, he found him. He is one step away from finishing it, and you are telling him to back off. Hawkeye knows, but still, he's about to do something reckless. This won't help. Not his country, not his friends. This is an act only for himself, and it's destroying him.
This is pure hatred, and I will not let it take you. You're better. I know you're better than that.
Mustang knows she is right, and still, the anger, the hatred, the pain wells up. Hawkeye tells him it is taking him, and even now she says he is better, that she knows he is better. He thinks back on his time with Hughes. Hughes is gone. Every part of him, the friend, the killer, the father. What about him? How can he step away from this? He takes a breath, a moment to think. What is most important? He says if Hawkeye is going to shoot him, shoot him. He's long accepted that outcome. But what will happen after that? After the Ishvalan War, Mustang and Hawkeye made a promise that Mustang would change this country. Mustang asked Hawkeye to watch his back. If he ever deviates from this path, he wants her to shoot him, and is trusting her to do so. At the time, I thought this was such a huge weight to put on his shoulders, that he had such confidence and conviction that he would surrender himself to her judgment. Yet, in this moment, it is not Roy who carries the burden of this promise. It is Riza. Where after everything, she's prepared to kill the person she loves most. She has no intention of carrying on alone. This fight will be her last. She will end her life and remove the secrets of flame alchemy from the world. All the sins of the hero of Ishval are not his burden alone to bear. Even now, the weight of it presses on her. Mustang flinches. Taking revenge in exchange for his life might be worth it. Yet Hawkeye, yet Riza, she's still bearing the weight of his sins. Even after defacing her back and saying he will do it alone, it is not just him. He will take her with him. Mustang releases the fire he has been holding. He relaxes, relents. That can't happen. The fire of vengeance, the anger, the hate, it's not enough. He can't afford to lose her. The fire is smothered. He turns around, eye to eye. He has done it again. He has hurt her. How foolish can one man be? He pulls the gun down, showing that he is done, asking for forgiveness. Then he crumples to the ground. His fight has left him. Hawkeye crumples too. They're the same, unwilling and unable to go on without the other. Even imagining Riza taking her life after his death is too much for him. He can't lose her. She has no intention of carrying on alone. She will bury them both. They both sit down. They didn't lose each other. How close they came. In the final battle, they fight as one, a microcosm of their relationship, incomplete alone, so they lean on one another. Hawkeye using Mustang's power, his influence, while Mustang uses Hawkeye's sight, her judgment. He's always trusted, surrendered to her judgment, always. She's the one who decided he would be the Flame Alchemist. She directed which lives were fine and which were cruel. She can see the path they walk on, and she's the one keeping him on it at all costs. He always trusts her. Even when the love of his life is dying on the floor, he accepts her judgment. He would not take this choice from her. While Mustang has a vision for the country, for the future, Hawkeye sees the present. They need each other to make their dream a reality. They need each other. Mustang is ambitious, driven, and passionate. He seeks to change the nation. When everything changes, when the Fuhrer is a homunculus, when the senior staff is in on the nation's destruction, he doesn't change. His goal is unchanged. He does this because he must. The amount of time it takes is inconsequential. Losing his eyesight is inconsequential. The two of them work together so seamlessly. They understand each other on a fundamental level. With just a few words, with just a pause, they understand each other. They're reliant on each other. Mustang is the fire that drives them forward, the ambition, the push. Hawkeye is the eye that directs them, the judge that guides them. Mustang can drive forward with such confidence because he knows she will keep him on the correct path. Hawkeye can be confident they will reach their goals with Mustang's drive. Riza Hawkeye is loyal, caring, and honest. She's fully devoted to Mustang, devoted to their goal, their grand plan spanning years that will eventually land them both in prison. Hawkeye is unwavering. There's never any question on where her loyalties lie or her conviction to her ideals. She listens, be it to Mustang, to Winry, to Ed. She doesn't look to push her ideals or rush to comfort them. She seeks to understand first. She doesn't tell Ed or Winry it's wrong to feel what they are feeling. She knows what matters most to them. Riza knows what is kind is not always what is painless. That hiding the truth of Hughes from the Elrics was cruel. The truth can be painful, damaging, yet hiding it, lying, lets it fester. Hawkeye is honest. Honest with herself, honest with others. She sees the world for what it is, sees what it will take to enact change. That some lies and deception are needed. She does not see the world in absolutes. In this story about change, cost, and truth, Hawkeye is consistently the element of truth. She both accepts the truth of herself and helps other characters accept the truth as well. The truth of themselves, who they love, when they are lying to themselves, and who they are becoming. Fullmetal Alchemist has been around a long time, has been in my life for a long time. With each watch through, read through, it feels a little different to me. I am a little different. What Fullmetal Alchemist has meant to me, what it contains, has changed. Riza has always been my favorite. From her just being super cool, to being the shining picture of loyalty, to the damaged human. Every time, Riza is my favorite. We see Hawkeye introduced with such self-confidence. She's willing to accept the truth of her actions without qualifications or excuses. She's able to talk about what she's seen, staring at death by her own hands over and over. Yet she bears the responsibility. The war was started by envy and escalated by wrath, and Riza offloads zero of her responsibility. Her actions were her own, and her quest seeks to strip her of her renown and replace it with infamy. Let the world remember her as the murderer. What could give a person such internal strength? Surely she was just born with it, just built different. No. We see Riza when she's younger, and we don't see such unwavering confidence. It is only after the war, when Hawkeye makes a promise, that we see this confidence in full. Before the war, Riza was a different person. During the war, she struggled with what she was becoming. Then, she accepted who she was, the good and the bad, deciding that as soldiers, they had taken too much and needed to do something. Needed to change the military, the systems, the country. Years later, and we finally meet her, and she's filled with self-confidence and focus. She knows who she is, and what she's doing about it. She smiles when Winry asks why.